Today's lesson's titled Imagination, the Basis for Manifestation. Can't wait, so stay tuned and find out more. So everybody's been asking me, so here's an update from Reverend Yvonne.
Good morning, my wonderful Unity Church for Creative Living community. I love you and I miss you. This is Reverend Yvonne McAndrew checking in with you. I've been making some strides, so that's good news. Been doing my physical therapy and my occupational therapy and my speech therapy, and it is coming along. It's been 8 weeks since my stroke, and I am doing so much better. I can't wait to see you. I know that Daniel Namad, one of my favorite singers, is going to be at Unity Church for Creative Living on September 28th at 6 p.m. to do a concert. And I'm going to be there because if you've heard Daniel sing, you know why. If you haven't, you want to buy a ticket and be there because he is real, genuine, soulful. He is a singer and songwriter, and he just allows Spirit to speak through him and sing through him. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to getting cleared by my doctors to come back to work, and I'm hoping that'll be next month. So hold that vision with me, and we'll continue to talk to one another, and thank you for all the love and prayers and support. Thank you for taking care of each other and the spiritual community. And I miss you. I miss you so much. I miss the love. I miss the energy. I miss the hugs. So I can't wait to be back with you. Blessings. Have a beautiful day. Namaste.
Namaste. It's amazing how our bodies can take a situation and just heal ourselves. So grateful. And with that idea of gratitude in mind, let's bring ourselves to prayer. And as we do so, let's close our eyes, take a few deep breaths, and lift our hearts in gratitude. Gratitude for this community, for all it does, for all it is. Gratitude for this place that we have, and for all the life that resides around it. Gratitude for each other, for the connections that we make. Gratitude for our friends, our families, and yes, gratitude for those who disagree with us. And as we hear these things that seem to separate us, let us not buy into the illusion, but lift that veil and see each other as who we really are. Divine light shining forth. And may that light that is us shine forth and illuminate any darkness that surrounds us. Let love be our guide. Let love be our inspiration. And as we move through this service today, help us know who we are and help us see clearly that everything is not as it appears. Amen. As we say, today is a great day for a great day. Namaste. Namaste means the divinity in me honors and greets the divinity in each of you. So let's turn to our neighbors and greet them with namaste.
Wow, the energy. It is truly an honor to be here again and experience this energy that you give. And you know, I don't believe that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore could have had imagined anything better than your church as teaching unity principles. Now, be forewarned, Reverend Marcia and I just may pack you up one day and take you up north. Well, good morning, everyone. And it goes without saying, we have a beautiful morning for a beautiful day. So let's start with just a short prayer. Beloved Creator, thank you for being present with us today as we share your guidance and love and help us to understand your ways. Well, as I know you are all aware, it is not an easy thing to journey through this life on earth because it can be tough sometimes, can't it? But you know what? We have God and we have each other. And with that, we can get through anything. Recently, you heard an inspiring talk on the power of prayer. And today, I'd like to focus on another tremendous power that we have among many God gave us, and that is the power of imagination. During a counseling session several years ago, I overheard a young married couple have their first disagreement. The wife was very, very angry and had not spoken to her husband for several days. He was desperate, and he begged her, "Please speak to me. I'll admit I was wrong and you were right." Well, the young bride relented and replied, saying, "It won't do any good. I've already changed my mind." And you know, that's the power that we have through the power of our imagination. The power to change our mind, which changes the outcome. And I know this is not a new topic for you or new discovery by anybody, because the Fillmores discovered this over 100 years ago and presented it in their teachings. And I'm sure as students of Unity, you're all familiar with the 12 powers of man, which one of the books that they gave us, which help us to enable our power within and all the different power centers we have. And you can see them on the screen behind me. 12 of them. And as we exercise each one of them, it brings us deeper and deeper into our spiritual connection to God. The one I'm going to be talking about particularly today is the power of imagination. And you can see it up there. It's right in the middle of the head, between the eyes, by imagination and will. And we activate these powers through prayer, affirmation, and intent. But if you're not familiar with this information, if by chance you might be new to Unity, we're going to revisit it today. You see, Charles Fillmore, in his research and meditations that he had with God daily, discovered that within our bodies, we each have these power centers that you see. When activated, they give us the power to become that beautiful Christ child God intended us to be. You will notice that there is 12 of them. But we're going to center, as I mentioned, on the power of imagination. And when you may wonder, why this particular power today? What's that all about? Well, that's what we're going to talk about. And in the diagram, you will notice the location of the power of imagination, and that's not by accident. It's also the location of the pineal gland. And David Wilcock, in his studies for over 30 years, along with Charles Fillmore, have realized that this is a very special gland that we have. It's called the pineal gland, and many scientists have believed that it is our third eye, because in this gland, there's a little liquid, and it can portray in our mind pictures. And we can decide which pictures we want to put in our mind and which ones we don't want to or we don't need. Now, if you don't believe me, it's also in James Allen's little book, As a Man Thinketh. And I'm sure this is in your library also. It tells us again and explains further the powers that we have and the great power we have within us. And I'm sure it's in your library, and if not, well, Amazon has it. They have everything, don't they? Well, several years ago, I had an experience that really had a very profound effect on me, more than I realized at that time. Now, it's been some 30 years since my husband became ill and passed of pancreatic cancer, and I was much younger at the time, and being a relatively new student of Unity, I could not imagine what my life could be. How could I go on without him? I mean, he held my hand. He held me through all the challenges and difficulties of life, and I just could not imagine him not being there. Well, I'm sure many of you have similar experiences of losing a loved one, and you know the uncertainty and fear that accompanies that. Well, I couldn't even imagine what my life would be like. The next year, 5 years, would I even exist 5 years from then? I didn't know. I really felt I had nothing left to give to life. What am I doing here? Taking up space. How can I guide my children without him? I felt so very, very lost. But that's when God intervened in a very interesting way. Well, the first few months after his passing, I was kept quite busy doing the usual things you do the first of the year, taxes, the annual church meeting, and all those little idiosyncrasies we do. And there was quite a bit to do to adjust to the new responsibilities, for we were co-ministers at Fort Pierce at the time. And you'll see, I'm going to share with you what I found. And you're shortly going to see a letter on the screen. And this is what I found one day sitting at my desk in the home that we shared. And we had both worked at that desk many, many times. In fact, all the time. And I was just finishing up a couple things, and I noticed this sheet of paper. And it was folded, and there were scribbles written on it on both sides. And I looked at it more closely, and I realized, oh my gosh, that was the last page of the talk my husband had been preparing before he passed. I just about threw it away. Then I got very curious. Well, what was he saying? And so I read it, and here's what it said. And you may not be able to read it up there because it may not be large enough, but let me tell you what it said. Every challenge is an indication that you are finding out for you what your good is. It may be something you need that is far beyond that which you want. God is at work for you in your salvation for your good pleasure. God bless, and that's truly the way it is. And that's the way he always ended his talk, so I knew for sure it was the last page of his talk. And then in very scribbly writing, which I doubt if you can read, but it was like he was standing right next to me, talking into my ear. He said, "Trust me, Diane. I know these words to be true. How are you ordering your life? How are you ordering your life? Think about it." Wow, what a wake-up call. I started to think, what do I really want? What do I need? What am I seeing in my mind? As I mentioned before, I couldn't even hardly imagine the next day, let alone the next year or a few years. So I gave it some serious thought. It was a major, major wake-up call for me. I realized I really needed the strength and courage to continue raising our 3 children to be good, God-loving adults. And I needed the stamina to see this through and to assist the congregation to move forward past his leaving. I needed the presence of mind to see my own future as productive, full of love, full of abundance, and even though he was not beside me to share that with me. And most of all, I needed the imagination to see what my life could really be like to assist others along this journey. And I realized at that time I wasn't imagining the highest and the best in any of these situations. I would have got a D- for sure on that one. And I began to realize there's much to see and much to imagine to realize the opportunities that I did have before me that I could accomplish on my own. And I don't share this with you today as a way of saying the roses aren't always beautiful. We know they're not. Sometimes we encounter some thorns along the way. They can be snarly, they can be sticky. But they're there to guide us, to help us to imagine our way around them to our better good. Now Reverend Levon hasn't exactly suffered a loss like this, and I'm quite certain no one has ever desired for her to suffer the stroke that she has. But we can use this as an opportunity to utilize our power of imagination, imagining her back to health and serving in the loving capacity that she has for so long. She seems to be doing pretty well, but can't we all use a boost sometimes? So let's stop and think. How are we imagining her life to be? Are we seeing her back in the church just robust and full of energy and love and shining God's light and moving around perfectly and all her body working perfectly and healthy? Or do some fear thoughts sometimes get in there? That's normal. That's human. Remember, God always takes every opportunity in life, no matter what, and turns it around to use for good. And using the power of imagination given to us to manifest the desires and opportunities that we dream of, that is the power God has given to each of us. We can choose to see the cells of Yvonne's body responding to the vision of her perfect health and taking within her cells the love light that we send them, shining brightly through her body to every nerve and muscle. And this also gives us the strength and understanding to be that beacon of shining light with her along her journey. Nothing is ever in vain, and all is possible with God. Also remember, the cells of our bodies hear every word we speak and see and feel everything we do. They're not just some inanimate part of our biology we know very little about. And if you have trouble believing that, just pick up this book I showed you earlier, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. I'm sure it's in your library too. And again, if not, Amazon. But it will explain how this is done. We aren't just a biological thing on earth. We are created by God. We are first spiritual beings, and second, biological entities, which our spiritualness lives in. And remember also, we cannot visualize for another without visualizing the same thing for ourselves and those around us. But thinking back today, I'm thankful for that experience that I had. Not that my husband passed, of course, but for what it taught me about the power and goodness of God. And how that piece of paper, which I almost threw away as an ordinary scratch paper, survived on my messy desk all that time? Only God knows. So in closing, my friends, let's all give Reverend Yvonne a little assistance. And through the power of our imagination, well, we know she's doing pretty well, but let's give her a little more help. So whenever you have a few minutes, maybe after church or a small gathering in someone's home through the week, take 10 or 15 minutes and imagine and talk to the cells of her body, telling them they are loved, They are healthy, they are whole, they're complete, and they're doing their perfect work for her and for all of us. And as you do this, you affirm this for yourself as well. And remember, with God, the sky is the limit. So bring into the physical all the good that God has for you. And I just have one word of caution. Visualize only the good, for fear and negative thoughts manifest also. So we have to be diligent. You remember Esther and Jerry Hicks? They always said it only takes 17 seconds to manifest a thought form. Think about it. 17 seconds. That's not long. Blessings and namaste. And now let's take a few minutes in our meditation time. Close your eyes and be comfortable where you are. Set aside anything you may have in your lap or your hands so you feel free and complete. Drop your attention down into your heart, for it is your connection to your Father, Mother, God. And see in your mind's eye the pineal gland through your heart, and see Reverend Yvonne going about her daily activities with physical ease and joy in her heart. See every cell in her body filled with light, love, and God-centered goodness. See her healthy, see her well, see her joyous. And hold this vision in the silence for a moment. In the silence for just a moment. And now take that vision and move it on to our own body or that of a loved one, someone in your church, in your community, or in the world. Spread God's goodness all over. And hold this vision also in your heart, in your silence, for 17 seconds. And to complete this meditation, bring in all the love light God and the angels are bringing and beaming to us as we are complete in God. So it is, and amen.
As I center in love, I align with God. As I center in love, I align with God. As I center in love, I align with God, with God, with God, with God, with God.
What a powerful message. Thank you, Reverend Diane. What a powerful song. Followed it up. Wow. You know, it's just, you were talking and I just said, you know, what a amazing world we live in, where when we think something, we can actually create what we want. I think we forget that too often, that we're in control. With God's help, all things are possible. So as we listen to the news this week, let's keep that in mind. Boy. Keeping that in mind also, now is the time in our service where we put ourselves into that law of circulation. That time when we know that all things are possible. That time when we let fear, just release our fear and know that our imagination is a gateway to all that is. So giving and receiving become one. So this morning we are invited to support our spiritual home through that law of giving and receiving. So I ask you to take a moment and allow the love, the joy, the peace of God to move through you and in you and the financial gift that you're giving. And as always, we are grateful to those of you who have selected a reoccurring donation. This is our home. So no matter how you're giving, join with me in our offertory blessing. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am richly blessed. Thank you, God. So mark your calendars. We have a few things coming up. As Reverend Yvonne so eloquently told us, Daniel Namod will be here in concert on September 28th at 6 p.m., and it's really something you don't want to miss. This man has love in his heart and a voice that'll melt your soul, and I encourage each one of you to come out and just experience Daniel for at least one time in your life. You will not be disappointed, I guarantee you. See Helen in the lobby if you want to get some early bird tickets. She'll be available to help you purchase those. The men's group got moved to this Tuesday night at my home at 6 p.m., so any of the men here, you're welcome to come on out and join us for an evening of fellowship, and sometimes something insightful comes out of it. So. Sometimes not, but we always have a good time. And all the women are invited to join the Women of Unity this Tuesday, again, September 16th at 6:30, right here in the sanctuary. So come on out. I'm sure you'll leave there a little bit enlightened too. And also, everyone is invited to join us on Sunday mornings from 9 to 10 for our ongoing Course in Miracles study group. Starts at 9 and ends at 10. So come on out and change your life. I now invite everyone to stand and join me as we say the prayer of protection as a positive I am statement. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. And together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yeah, God.
This little light, gonna let it shine, gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, Lord, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine.
here at Unity Church for Creative Living in St. John's, Florida. Shine your light.